Influencers are a hot topic in Dubai, whether it's the cool events that they go to, the parties, the brands they work with, and they take over our social media feeds, often in a good way, but also they tend to cause some controversy with brands and experiences. Influencer marketing has grown fivefold in the last 3 years, and estimates say that it's $100 million industry in the UAE alone. So what impact is that having? Welcome to Dubai Works, a business podcast about the innovators, the products, the services, and trending topics. Loving Dubai's take on the business stories that matter. My name is Richard Fitzgerald. I'm the founder of Augustus Media, publishers of Lovin Dubai, Lovin Saudi, and Smashy TV. Each week, we'll be interviewing the dynamic business leaders of Dubai. So what's the ecosystem around influencers? Who are the key influencers, the key players? What are the talent managers, the agencies, the platforms, the production companies? How is this industry growing? And what impacts it's having, and the business licenses and all other regulation that follows a new area. This week we sat down with Sharif Fayyad, one of the most prominent influencers in Dubai. He's Egyptian American, a former footballer, model, TV host, and passionate traveller. He's also represented by Bukash Brothers, one of the leading talent management companies in the UAE. It's a fascinating chat, and I'm sure we'll talk about influencers more as this podcast develops. Hi, so we're here with Sharif Fayyad, TV host and personality. Hi, Sharif.
Hi, thank you for having me.
It's a pleasure to have you on the Dubai Works Business Podcast.
I'm glad being here, my first podcast.
Amazing. So yeah, we'll see how it goes. So basically, I was trying to describe what you are and what you do, but it's so diverse, and you have such a rich kind of background as well with many, you've done so many things. Tell us, how do you describe people when...
So just to put it really briefly, I'm a TV host now, turned into TV host, obviously that thanks to social media pushing me into that.
Okay.
But I do a lot of traveling. I'm really focused on working with some of the brands on a long-term basis.
Yeah.
And a lot of hotels, travel agencies, some tourism boards. So I focus a lot on traveling as well.
Amazing. Yeah, I think I saw you on a Pan-Arab TV station hosting a football show with Paul Scholes once.
Yeah, the Victorious. Yep.
What's that one?
So the Victorious is a reality TV show where we go around the Middle East and we set up trials for young kids, age 16 to 21, who dream and aspire of becoming professional football players.
Yeah.
And we kind of target areas where they never would really get the chance. And thousands of kids, like we go to, I think, around maybe 10 different Middle Eastern countries.
Where have you been so far, and is the show ongoing?
It is ongoing. Last year it was on hold because of the World Cup, but I hosted 2 seasons. It's been on for 3 seasons. I hosted 2 out of those seasons.
Okay, amazing.
3 seasons. We go everywhere from so we go to Dubai. We got Saudi. We got Egypt. We got Tunisia, Morocco, Algeria, a lot of the North African countries. You got Lebanon. A lot of the countries where football really is focused, and there's a huge population.
And are you a judge or are you a coach? Are you kind of...
No, I'm the host there.
Okay.
Yeah, so the format is very simple. It's the same thing as any elimination format, pretty much. You cut them down to 20 players. You bring the best 20 out of thousands of kids to Dubai. And then week by week, they go through trainings and games, and then 1 by 1 lead, 2 by 2 lead each week until they have one winner.
And what does the winner get?
So he gets $100,000.
Amazing.
And he gets a trial with a professional club.
In any league in Europe? Or?
It's usually each year it's different. So we had Spain, a team in Spain last year, and the year before it was Germany. As well. So it's usually just a trial, like an extensive trial with the team to see if they would like to sign him later on.
And amazing. So, and your home country is Egypt.
Yes.
And the football is massive there.
It is huge.
And you're a footballer yourself.
Yeah, I had a brief stint with football. I played football all my younger years. Since I was 12. Managed to go professional when I was 18 years old.
Wow.
In Belgium for about a year and a half.
Amazing.
Long story short, I moved back to Egypt because I wanted more playing time with the first team, because the team I was with had just been promoted and they had so many senior players.
Yeah.
So I wasn't really getting my chance to play, and I was a young, eager kid. So
you wanted to be picked. You wanted to be in the first 11.
Yeah, exactly. I wanted to move out of the reserves, and it was a huge squad roster. So I was like, okay, I might go back to Egypt and get more playing time.
And that would be unusual. Like, not many kind of Egyptian players go to the Belgian league, for example.
Yeah, but the good benefit of that was the club I went to is a sister club of the club I was playing for in Egypt.
Okay.
So I just
What's the name of the club in Egypt?
Wadi Degla.
Okay, cool.
And that one's called Liers in Belgium. So I moved back to my sister club again to get playing time. But unfortunately, as soon as I moved back, there was a huge massacre in football where about 74 fans were killed.
Yeah.
And that just put all sports on hold.
Yeah, and the league stopped for a couple of years.
Everything stopped, and it took a while. And that's when I decided, you know what, maybe it's time for me to explore different options and move on.
Okay, amazing. Cool. And when was that?
I would say that, so that was, I moved here about 4 years ago, just a little over 4 years ago.
Okay.
And that was maybe like a year and a half prior to that.
Okay,
so
amazing.
Yeah, about 5-6 years ago.
And do you miss it? Do you miss football? Do you play with friends?
Of course, yeah. I love football. I'm always playing as much as I can.
Yeah.
At least once a week if I can, twice.
But you're still a young guy. You look fit. You could play with some of the local teams here, maybe.
Oh, they have a lot of different rules about the local teams here where they obviously have to have they just opened it up this year, but it was mainly focused on the locals. They opened up to people who were born and raised here as well to be able to play with them.
Yeah.
But you know, with football, there's usually an age bracket.
Yeah.
Where if you're not playing professionally by then and you're not up there, then you're kind of
hard
past
to get back into it. Yeah.
And it was a beautiful period in my life, obviously, and I'm happy I went through it. It taught me a lot. I learned so much from it. But you move on.
Yeah.
Onto other things.
So you were known really originally on social media for the platform Vine.
Yeah,
kind of.
That's what started it.
So explain to me what Vine is.
So when I came across Vine, I didn't really understand what it was. Also, that was around the time where football had stopped.
Okay.
So I had a lot of free time on my hands, and I came across Vine, which was just a 7-second video of people just doing either silly things or making other people laugh.
Yeah.
And I decided to give it a go, and just make fun of myself and just have post a silly video, not knowing what the outcome would be. And it just blew up. Like everybody, I was getting calls of my friends just laughing and telling me, what the hell did you just do? I'm like, whoa, did I do something wrong? Like, no, that was funny. Keep on going.
Did you know you were funny before? Or did people say you should be a comedian? Or
I never considered myself a comedian. I'm just as my mom would say, a goofball.
Okay.
Pretty much. So I'm always like a class clown or just. I like to say I have good energy, so I like to just always try to make people have a good time around me.
Yeah.
Not, I wouldn't say comedian as like throwing punchy jokes.
Yeah.
Like even the stuff I would post, typically I started making fun of the typical traditional Arab things that we do, like fighting over the bill.
Yeah.
And just put a twist on it and make it a little bit funny so people could relate to it.
Okay. And did your following come, from Egypt or from the rest of our world?
Mainly, it started in Egypt, obviously, and it all over the world because Vine was way bigger in the States and in European countries.
It's owned by Twitter,
than in the Middle East. So when I started, I would be speaking in Arabic, and I was doing a lot of these videos that are relating to Arab culture.
Yeah.
So I'd get a lot of the following of the Arabs in the States and the Arabs in Europe. They're like, oh my God, that is me too. That's what my family does because we all pretty much do the exact same thing.
Yeah. So tell me kind of what happened next. Like, how did that create opportunities, and how did you kind of do you associate yourself with the term influencer and explain that sort of thing?
What happened next is I was so people started laughing. It was right after the revolution, right after this thing that happened with football.
Yeah.
So it was a pretty down time in Egypt. And I realized that I could make people laugh and I could change people's mood for just a couple of seconds or draw a smile on people's faces. So I kept going on with that and posting more videos and just gaining a lot of followers super fast because social media was very new. Like I would like to say I got on the boat as soon as it sailed. So I was gaining so many followers, like right from the start, thousands per day.
And on Vine, on Twitter, on Instagram,
Vine,
everything.
And I didn't think much of it. And I, of course, never thought there would be any sort of thing like an influencer or someone would pay me to post something because it was unheard of at the time.
Yeah.
And I remember the first time, like a couple of months later, someone came up to me and it was based out of Dubai. And they said, we need you for a campaign where we're going to send you in a +1 to travel.
Okay.
And we're going to pay you to post. And I thought to myself, is this guy crazy or like, it when you think about it now, everybody does it. It's normal.
Yeah.
But you think 5 years ago, you're like, no something is sketchy.
Yeah. What's in it for them? Like, what's the catch?
I'm like, what is the catch here?
Yeah.
So
how many sort of followers? You've about 1 million followers on Instagram now, huge engagement, and you work with multinational brands, and you kind of, as you said, kind of got on the boat, and you're part of the influencer ecosystem now. And I assume that it takes up all your time.
It takes a lot more time than people would expect, obviously. One of my main things, if I'm not hosting a TV show, is I do a lot of travel. And traveling is definitely a luxury, but it's not always luxurious. If that makes sense. A lot of it is hectic. You're on the road. You're going.
Are you with brands, or are you doing travel for holiday? Are you doing reviews? And
a lot of the time, it's just personal traveling, because I believe the money you spend is not really spent when you travel, because you gain so much more in return than what you put in. So if I'm not
learning cultures and experiences, amazing.
Putting yourself out there, you grow as your personality, and your character just grows. You learn so much from other cultures. You see how diverse it is. How something you do is so different than what they would do. Something you might think is offensive is completely normal to their culture, you know? So if it's not working with a hotel or a brand that sent me somewhere, I'm always on the road, just because I love to travel and I love to see all these different experiences and cultures.
But you're based in Dubai. How did you kind of decide on Dubai as your home?
So relating back to that first campaign I was telling you about, where they asked me, they asked me to go to Mexico. It was part of the World Cup 2014 campaign.
The one in Rio.
So it was a campaign for a brand. I'm not sure if I could say it or not now.
Yeah, go ahead.
It was Chipsy and Lay's. So Chipsy is the local brand of Lay's.
So part of PepsiCo, Arabia.
Part of PepsiCo, pretty much, And they sent me there because they were coming up with new flavors, like for each different country. And it was like a reality TV show thing where I had to go out and do all these different tasks.
Messi does the campaign to them as well.
So they sent me to Mexico for about 20 days. And I had a blast there.
Amazing.
And then the company that was shooting the whole thing for me there, they sent people to other countries. But the company that was with me, I told them, it's time to move on. Like I told you, to explore different options. I told them, you know what, guys, I'm half American. I got an American passport. It's much easier for Americans to travel and get around than Egyptians. I don't have to apply for a visa. So I have a background. I love production and everything. If you guys are ever interested, or you have an opening, I'd love to come over to Dubai and just give it a go and see what happens. Because I've always looked at Dubai and I knew it was a Middle Eastern country with a lot of Western in it as well. All the cultures that are here, it's just a big hub, and I wanted to experience that and see what it's like.
So it kind of started from there.
So then after a month of getting back, they actually gave me a call and said, hey, are you still interested in coming over? And that's when I flew over here. Long story short, spent about 5 months with that company, and that is when I realized that social media in Dubai was way ahead of social media in Egypt.
Really?
That's when I realized that so many brands, I started to go all in
on social
and
every part of it,
influencers and paying people to advertise.
So just kind of pause right there, and we'll look at the influencer ecosystem. Because basically, that's a few years ago, and I think influencer marketing, people tried to project how much revenue it was going to be worth and the different parts of it, and there were talent management companies. And I think, some stats that we're talking about in 2015 said there was about $20 million spent on influencer marketing in the region, and it said that there's $100 million spent in the region in 2018. To put that in perspective, the regional ad spend is about $3.5 billion. Digital might be about 900 million. So Eli Khoury, the CEO of Omnicom Media Group, in his 2019 predictions said that influencer marketing is passing out print as the fourth biggest space. How do you see the space? Do you see it as an ecosystem? Do you see it as something that you do? Or do you think about it in terms of an ecosystem and marketing, and do you see it as a business?
It definitely is a business. I mean, when you look at all the businesses that came out of social media, it's you can't count them. So many people turned basic following into a business, whether it's travel, it's fashion, it's cars, it's whatever it is. And I always say that nowadays people start going to social media to advertise and to market because first of all, it costs them less than what they would typically pay
Yeah.
for press or TV,
Yeah.
and it would reach way more people.
And
Because
do you think
nowadays,
it's as effective?
I think it is as effective.
Yeah.
Not because I'm on social media, but we just think about it. Everyone's on their phone most of the day. If you're just sat here waiting for a friend for 5 minutes, you take out your phone, go through Instagram.
Yeah.
You're walking somewhere, you're in transportation. You're just always through your phone. I don't really think that people typically sit down in front of a TV nowadays,
Okay.
especially with all the different like Netflix and on-demand things that you have.
Yeah.
You rarely watch the regular TV and see any ad that pops up unless it's a football game that you
Yeah.
have to watch and you see that ad.
Yeah.
And
Like
also,
a sponsorship. or
yeah, and the
partnership,
same
yeah.
with press. Like
Okay.
people rarely go through magazines or newspapers.
Yeah.
It's just all on your phone nowadays.
So as you started working with more and more brands, and as this space evolved and has grown and is continuing to grow, what decisions did you have to make with brands? Do you have your own manager? Do you have a production company? What's the kind of, how do people like you operate?
So when I first when I moved to Dubai, I was still managing myself and talking to a lot of the companies or brands who wanted to work with me. But then I signed with Bofas Brothers, which is my friend's talent management company.
Yeah.
It's actually one of the very first. I think I was the first one to sign with him.
Okay.
He had talked to me about the idea of setting
Anas,
up.
yeah,
Anas. He
okay.
talked to me about the idea of setting up the company because he sees this going somewhere, and this is where a lot of the brands are going to go
Yeah.
from now on. And obviously, it's a lot, and that's one business that came out of social media.
Yeah.
Like the ones we were talking about. So I signed with Anas, and honestly, it's been amazing so far.
Yeah.
And it's just the professionalism. I like to take care of the creative side. I like to take care of what I want to do in terms of photography, videography, trips, that part. And then when it comes to the money or negotiations or stuff, I'm not that guy. I don't
Yeah.
want to get involved in that.
So Bukash Brothers manage you
Yeah,
all
so-
the relationships, all the agreements, the
Exactly.
documents, and the paperwork and all that.
They do all that stuff. They
Yeah.
manage. They also do a lot of. We sit down together and we put a plan for me, not just the paperwork and the
Yeah.
negotiations. We put a plan together about what I want to do next year,
Yeah.
where I see myself, how I can grow,
What opportunities to
what
look out
opportunities
for.
I could.
Because the Bukash Brothers are a well-known social media influencer talent management company here, but they're also known that they only work with a few select
Yeah,
influencers.
yeah,
So
they
that must
are
be
very
a great kind of relationship for you.
It is, yeah. We have like at the agency, there's what's called the BB family, Bofas Brothers family,
Yeah.
and they like to work with very select few who they are close with, and they want to grow and work on and give them their full attention.
Yeah.
Not meaning that they don't work with other people. They work with so many people, if not most of the people in the Middle East.
Yeah.
But the people who are under their umbrella and they focus on 100% are very limited.
Okay, cool. And so with that relationship, are you, is there a set fee or there was a show on Netflix by BuzzFeed, not the movie Follow Me, but a show about influencer.
I was just about to watch that a couple of days ago, actually.
Really?
Yeah.
It's really good. It's like they have different episodes. They're 15 minutes long, and one of them is about social media and attention and how much how we're addicted.
Uh-huh.
And the next one after that talks about the influencer space, but teen influencers in the US,
Mhm.
all on Musical.ly and TikTok and these
Yeah.
new apps. And then it shows a breakdown of where the percentages go. In the US, it says that 10% goes to the talent manager of the fee the brands pay the influencer. 40% goes to the agency. And excuse me. And then there's also a rule if you're under 18 in the US, you pay a
It's
percentage.
a lot of rules.
So there's a lot, but it kind of relates to maybe movie stars and that sort
Yeah.
of space from before.
I mean, I think it's the same with any industry as well. Having an agent or having a manager, it's always discussed prior to signing that, okay, you know what, we're going to have this deal. You're going to take 70, I'm going to take 30. You're going to take 50, I'm going to take 50. It's all depending on who you're negotiating with
Okay.
and what you agree to do with. If it's
Yeah.
someone you really want to sign with and that's their terms and deals,
Yeah.
then you'd be like, okay, that's what it is.
So you kind of have an overarching agreement with your agency, your partners and your
Yeah, of
friends,
course.
and then you discuss negotiation with the clients based on the campaign and the brand
Yeah,
fit and
definitely,
everything.
definitely.
Have you ever said no to a brand?
Oh, so many times. I say no more than I say yes.
Really?
Yeah, because nowadays, a lot of people, there is a lot of money in social media. We're not going to lie. But a lot of people turn into the yellow pages
Yeah.
and they just post nonstop ads on
Yeah.
their space and profile. And it just loses the essence of what your page is supposed to be about.
Yeah.
So I always try to pick the ads and pick the brands that relate to me, whether it's travel, sports, activewear, just something that is me. I'm not going to go choose an ad that is not me and post it on my social media just to get money and have it there.
And you can probably see the reaction. You probably know, because the people, the comments and the feedback that you get.
You lose the trust with the people that follow you, because they just look at you like a sellout, and you're pretty much using them to get your ad out there. And
so
that
what
is
type
one thing
of,
you don't want to do.
What clients have you said no to?
I said no to a client that wanted, it was a hairstyling.
Okay.
What's it called? It's like a hairstyling straightener.
Yeah.
And
Hair
they wanted,
yeah,
hair straightener, pretty much a hairstyling straightener.
Okay.
And they wanted to advertise and work with me, and I told them, like, I don't mind, but if I straighten my hair,
You've got curly hair.
yeah. If I would do my hair regularly, like daily, it makes sense that I would use it. At least I show people how I fix my hair and straighten it.
Okay.
But I don't do any of that, so why would I use that? They told me, well, it's because you have a large female following or whatever. I'm like, yeah, but still, the brand doesn't relate to me, so it would make no sense if I just post that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it just always has to relate.
And what's one of the campaigns or the stories that you've told for brands that's resonated most with your followers?
A lot of the stuff I've worked with revolve around traveling, because that's my main focus now, and a lot of people follow me to see where I'm going, what I'm doing, and what's my next step, and just to see different places for them to go to.
Yeah.
Sorry about that. So a lot of different, I would work with some airlines. I would work with a watch brand that is all about exploring and adventure, for example.
Yeah.
Which is the one I have on now, and it actually has a globe on it.
Yeah.
So it's all about life of the adventure.
What is it?
That's Mont Blanc.
Okay, nice.
So it's all about being an explorer and going out there. So it relates. It relates to me a lot. So that's why I chose to do it.
Okay. And so relationships with Mont Blanc and with other brands, are these long-term relationships, or are they, they've got a new watch that they want to promote, and is this the kind of something that you're kind of building a year in advance, and are they planning that way as well?
A lot of it's like some of the brands are long-term, some of them are campaign based. Like Nokia, for example, I've been an ambassador of theirs for over a year now. Yeah. And I use their phone whenever I travel to capture the beautiful.
They launched
places.
a new one in Dubai last week.
Yeah, I was actually the MC of that.
Okay, amazing.
As well.
Yeah.
So I use their phone to shoot my videos, because I do a lot of videos and pictures. And that goes hand in hand with what I do.
Yeah.
But some of them are campaign based, and others are long term.
So your relationship is more than the social media, because you can do photo shoots as a model, you can wear the products, you can MC the events, you can appear in commercials. So it's kind of traditional brand ambassador role, but the social media plays a huge role.
Yeah, it's not just about me being connected to the brand and posting for the brand on my profile, being an ambassador or being a friend of the brand or whatever it is. You could MC, like I was at the event. You could show up. They could use you for a photo shoot where they want to use the images, not necessarily go on your profile. Yeah. So there's a lot more to it, obviously, than just posting on your social media. Okay. And it's a relationship you grow with that brand.
Yeah. We see many influencers, so to speak, involved in these spaces launching their own products. Is that a space you want to get into, or is the media career something that you're focusing on as well?
I love being in front of the camera, and I think for me it comes naturally, because like I told you, I was just always natural in front of people. Yeah. But I am trying to take it to a different level and start my own business, which is travel related, obviously. Okay. I get a lot of requests of people who wanting to travel with me and wanting to join me on my trips. So hopefully in 2019, I'll be starting off my own travel agency. Okay. To allow people to come along with me on my adventures and take part in it as well.
That's amazing and great to hear it on the Dubai Works Business Podcast. It will be based in Dubai, and
this is the first time you're hearing this, by the way.
Brilliant. That's exclusive.
I've had a lot of interviews today, and they're all asking me what's happening in 2019. And I'm like, no, you have to wait and find out.
You have to wait and find out. So we already know. Well, maybe we'll book a trip with you as well and check it out. That's really cool. Well, that's a good note to finish it on. Thanks a lot for your time, Sharif.
Thank you so much.
And we'll follow your journey, both metaphorically and online over the next years.
That sounds great. Thank you for having me.
Thanks a lot. So that's it for another episode of Dubai Works Business Podcast. Follow these stories and more on lovindubai.com. Also on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, LinkedIn and Snapchat, and Lovin Dubai. Have a good week, and we'll be back next week with another interview.